Round number 14, I believe it is, of the Nemesis Online Racing League Championship, which is going to come to you from Monza, the Italian Grand Prix, and around the Temple of Speed. I'm sure it's going to be an exciting and enthralling Grand Prix, as it usually is, of course, around Monza. But now I am getting absolutely bamboozled with invites. Not sure if that's bombarded, I think I should say, with invites. Which is what we love to see. We love to get spammed with invites. As we are now, looks like about to just get ready to go. Well, we're having to wait as someone's disconnected. Alright, the tweet is out. Now, I'm not sure if people have been in chat already, because I've not opened up the chat yet. But if there's anyone who's spoken already, I do apologise. I mean, I think whilst we just wait here, I'm gonna go back to my little food that I'm having at the moment. So yeah, we can just wait here until everything gets going. I'll say hello to you, Addy. Good luck tonight, fella. Perhaps you can make it two on the bounce. Well, it just looked like we were about to get things underway as Val had given us the ready up, but I believe King No Skill has disconnected from the lobby and is now trying to join back. So people need to unready. Yep. What am I eating? I've just got some lollies that I'm munching on at the moment. Good to see you in the chat, obviously JB, and also to Kevin Jacobs, who says let's go Bolt and Val, making it pretty clear who he's cheering on for. Early on, I hope you're doing well, Kevin. Of course, I do miss you racing in the league. And indeed, good luck. I'd like to echo that message. Good luck to all of the racers, as Casper has just put in the chat. As looks like we're just waiting for King No Skill. Hashtag team disconnect. As Colin is gonna crash the lobby. When King rejoins, we start. So there you go. Once King No Skill returns, we'll be good. As Deadfast TBD says, let's go safety car. Well, I wouldn't. Well, they've supposedly patched the safety car again for about the 17th time so far. This season, on this game I should say. So hopefully there might be some safety cars, who knows, at turn 1. There very well could be. Let's hope for a good race. I'm sure we're going to have a good race. Good morning, Toby. I hope you have a good race, fella. And Colin, you definitely are. Well, you're not going to crash it now, but since you've stopped absolutely spamming it, but you know what Codemasters are like. Please no punt to Reno. Well, it's turn 1 at Monza. If you're not in first place on the inside line, it's pretty risky, to be honest with you. So, if you're not in that position, have fun. Unless you're starting right at the back, where you can then just absolutely go at a snail's pace through turn 1. Monza is the most overrated track. I'm not confident. Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of Monza either, if I'm particularly honest. To actually race that. Disconnects brakes. As Callum's just put in the chat, hashtag team disconnect, or as you guys would know him as Ayrton Spedder, because he's an absolute melon, and he's changed his name to Ayrton Spedder. How's 2020 been so far, Nib? I don't think I've seen you since Chaz's 2010's F1 review. Didn't you fall asleep during the stream? Yes, I did fall asleep during that stream. I was extremely tired. So yeah, indeed I did fall asleep. But yeah, 2020 has been very good. Very good so far. And I think what's it called, we're going to be doing a podcast tomorrow. So keep your eyes peeled for that. I believe 7 PM UK time. So yeah, keep your eyes peeled out for that. So yeah, you'll hear from me tomorrow. VSC deployed. Yeah, well, it's going to take fucking. It's going to. I didn't say that. It's going to take 20 years for that to happen. Whilst we're here waiting, as Colin is spamming the lobby again, you absolute menace. You're probably giving Val a heart attack over here, starting before it's 40 past the hour. Let's hope for good King No Skill highlights. Well, at the moment he isn't even in the lobby, so that's not what you want. Hungry safety car will keep me awake at night, or keeps you awake at night. Yeah, that was certainly not the best timing when you'd utterly dominated the race. 10 minutes late, I know. I can sit here and complain, but you got to think of how many times I did that when I would be asleep. So yes, and JB's saying I love Monza, probably in my top 5 tracks to drive, along with Interlagos, Montreal, Spa, and Suzuka. I tell you what, I'm not a big fan of Italy. It's not a particularly complicated track, so It's just lots of chicanes and straights, you know, which isn't particularly interesting to drive. Like, I would always say China's my favourite circuit to drive on an F1 game. Because it is such a technical track. And along with Bahrain, I'd probably have to say. Bahrain's up there as well. Huge fan of the earlier Grand Prix in this season. And funny enough, because China and Bahrain usually produce the best actual racing in real life. So we're now about to load in for our one-shot qualifying, which will be in dry and sunny conditions here at Monza. As everyone is now just selecting their setup from one of the default ones. And then we will get underway. In the F1 game, Monza probably produces the best racing against AIs. Well, to be honest with you, I wouldn't know because I've only done up to, I think, Azerbaijan on the career mode before I absolutely gave up. But now, we'll go on board with Hefford here. He's in these Williams and he's absolutely flying down towards that first chicane. Brakes just about before the 100-meter board, gets it nice and tucked in into the apex and now launches his way down the straight towards the Curva Grande, as Chazza has already been disqualified from the session for a corner cut at turn 1, which is not what you want. Now down into the second chicane, very difficult chicane because, well, you want to be taking a little bit more curb with that, but it's also so easy to just clip too much curb and unsettle the car absolutely completely, as now they head through Lesmo 1 and now through Lesmo 2. Not exactly the greatest corners by Hefford, but he's still up in 5th place and he'll be pretty proud with that as he's almost falling asleep and going into the wall now as they head down towards Ascari, a very difficult corner. Of course, as we all know, if anyone who's watched F1 or even played a little bit of this game, is you have to manage the throttle just oh so well to get the car all sorted. As now we're going to be on board with our championship leader Bolt here as they come through Parabolica now, and on the exit of Parabolica, is it going to be Chilikila who takes pole position? It's going to be oh so close. Oh no, it's not going to be close whatsoever as Chilikila takes pole position by half a second over the Renault of Bolt, and then it's very closely behind Bolt is his teammate Ayrton Spener. Callum J. Spencer, of course, who is Ayrton Spener, is finding a way back in form. He had a very strong Hungarian Grand Prix, and now he's starting to find some form back, as back in his day, Ayrton Spener was a fantastic and fast racer who was right at the top, or very often challenging me, so good to see him back up towards the top of the field where he belongs. But as we've already mentioned, Chilikila will take pole, and he'll start in 1st place, followed by Bolt, followed by Ayrton Spener, followed by Maverick in 4th place. And then Daniel Benton-Hard, that is certainly his best qualifying position of the season, up in 5th place. We've got Hereford up in 6th. Ed, 1.5 seconds off pole in 7th. Val in 8th. Murcielago in 9th. Schechter in 10th. Aragno in 11th. And then the disqualifiers Skull, Addy, Lollapower, and Chazza. And Lollapower does have a penalty, but he hasn't retired already at the start or got disqualified before Chazza, so Chazza will actually start behind, even though Lollapower's got a qualifying ban. As I should mention, I think the championship points gap is 10 points now between Chilikila and Bolt, so Ed is going to be hoping that Chilikila can hold him up at turn 1 and for the first couple of laps and allow him to gain positions up the field closer to Bolt. And we've seen last time out it was mistakes galore at Spa by both those drivers. But now I think on the formation lap, I'll just rest my throat and my voice before we get underway for this 27 lap Italian Grand Prix. Right, and now as Chilkila, our pole set up. I did believe have a very good qualifying at Hungary. I can't remember if we did start on pole, but certainly did start in a high grip position in that race. Now has a very strong opportunity here to get a good result here at the Italian Grand Prix. But he has to be keeping that man who's going to be ever so hungry to extend his championship lead after losing points at Spa. He's going to have to hold off the two Renaults very, very well here. As we're now about to get underway. And here we go. We have 3, we have 4, we have 5 lights. And we're underway for the Italian Grand Prix here. And it looks like it was a pretty strong start by the Alfa Romeo indeed. He's clear ahead and he's already defending the inside line as Chilkila as they head down towards turn 1. Ayrton Spencer's going to try and go around the outside, but goes off circuit, and there's been some contact as the Renaults come back onto the circuit, and now Ed! Oh, Ed is absolutely careened, and there's an absolute monstrous crash there. There's a Ferrari involved as well. There's a Mercedes of Ed as well, who absolutely caused that crash, with Hereford involved as well. That surely has to be a safety car, as Chaz has got a 5-second time penalty, and now also Ed has got a 5-second time penalty. But the big story is Bolt is up into first place with his championship rival all the way down in 15th, and without a front wing after he's had some contact there with Chilkila. As they're coming out of the first chicane, with Ayrton Spencer in second place, and we have the Italian, of course, of Val in third place, and we have, I think, a virtual safety car. Yes, we do have a virtual safety car, and that's what I need to be putting on the full track map, as now that has been enabled, and there we go, as we can see on the right hand side of screen. We do have a virtual safety car, or do we? I don't think we don't now. We're back under full green conditions. It isn't actually showing up, and who was that going a little bit wide there? I believe that was Ayrton Spencer, who made a little bit of a mistake there going through Parabolica. And now the Alfa Romeo. His teammate's been collected early on in this race, but now can he get up into second position? There's now Val is going to try and go around the outside at turn 1. Can he get the job done? No, not quite. It's Ayrton Spencer defends that very well, as we have an absolute, well, barrage of cars coming into the pit lane now after that first lap chaos, which was all really started by Ayrton Spencer's failed move to try and go around the outside of Chilkila, of course. was speaking of Alfa Romeos, Val has lost the rear end, an absolute treat here, and now Maverick will be absolutely looking to take advantage, and very squirmy on the exit of Lesmo 2 now, as the Mercedes driver on the way down to Ascari. He's going to have to go the long way around, which is going to be a very risky move, and I'm sure he'll think the better of it. But Val going defensive into Ascari, and now on the run down to Parabolica, the Mercedes driver should have a very good opportunity of getting past here, as now also the other Italian on the grid, along with Danny Benlahar, of course. Ragno's getting interested as well. Maverick trying to go around the outside at Parabolica, but that's not going to quite work out. And now Ragno is going to be looking on with very, very interested eyes here, as now Maverick pulls around to the outside. Of course, DRS is not enabled in these early stages of the Grand Prix, but Maverick and Val side by side into turn 1. Who's going to get the job done? Looks like Maverick's gone a little bit deeper. He's just about got his nose there, as Ragno's just hit the back of Maverick there. But Val maintains P3 at the moment. It seems a little bit difficult to overtake without the DRS available at the moment. But Ragno here in the slipstream of Maverick, I don't think he'll be able to make a move into the second chicane, and indeed he's not, as Maverick's actually tagged the back of Val there, and now he's gone into the gravel on the outside that, and now he's down into 5th place after that little mistake. And I wonder if he does have any front wing damage. But now Ragno is up in 4th, and it's a Renault 1-2 and an Italian 3-4, with Maverick now dropping back into 5th after that mistake, of course. And of course we have all of the people who were involved in the turn 1 incident. Yep. We have Chilakilla in 10th, Danny Benlahar in 11th, Michelago in 12th, Hereford in 13th, Chazza in 14th, and Ed in 15th. And Ed is going to have to pull off a stellar drive, and oh boy, he's going to need it. He's going to have to absolutely put in an absolute stellar drive. He needs at least P5 or 4 at the absolute minimum to just any damage limitation. That's what his race is about now. It is about damage limitation, and well, he has drivers in front of him that he can overtake, as he is closing up to Chazza here into Ascari. But Chazza, of course, is not just going to let him pass freely, although it should be quite an easy move for Ed here, as I believe he is on softer compounded tyres than Chazza. And heading down into Parabolica, I assume that Chazza will more than likely just let him through. And yes, Chazza decides to brake a little bit earlier and let Ed go through. Ed has more important things to deal with than what Chazza does, and Chazza is sort of looking at it more of a longer game here. And now Ed will make it 2 moves in a matter of moments, as he now gets past Hereford down towards turn 1. Now, after being in 15th, as we switched on to him, he's now all the way up in 13th, and he's about 6 seconds behind Murcielago, and he can start to try and get back into the points, as we'll turn our attentions a bit more forward now, as the 2 Italians are just starting to bunch up now. Val and Ragno, as they come through the Parabolica. Val going very defensive, holding a very tight and narrow inside line going through Parabolica, and that's very interesting indeed, as that would sacrifice a very good run. And now Ragno with the DRS open down towards turn 1. Can he get the move done here, Ragno? Val defending the inside line very, very well indeed. A little bit of contact there, but that's all fair in my opinion. And Val holds on that for once again into turn 1. He seems to have a very good car in a straight line, does Val. And he's going to maintain P3 for the moment. He's going to be wanting to hold on to that podium position with absolutely everything he can, as Ragno clatters along the curbs there, which allows Val to escape just a little bit further up the road. But here we go. We have our winner last time out, Addy, in 6th place. He's gained 7 positions since the start of this Grand Prix. And what tyres is he actually on? He is actually on the medium compounded tyres here. So Addy in a very good spot indeed, as Maverick very squirming through Ascari. And now, can the Haas driver get past the Mercedes driver here as they head down into Parabolica? I believe he can. Yes, he can. Very good move there by Addy, and he is looking very strong at these early stages of the race. He's only a couple of seconds off the podium, and he's on a harder compound of tyres than them. But can the Mercedes potentially come back at him? He's in the slipstream of the Haas. Thought about launching it up the inside for a moment there, but Addy holds on to his 5th place, and Addy is a driver to look out for because he isn't too far off the lead, only 6 seconds. And perhaps his alternate strategy can work out for our race winner at Spa, as the Mercedes driver of Maverick brakes a tad too late there, and braking too late isn't going to cost him here, as Addy has made a mistake in front of him, but no, he had the inside line into the first Lesmo. And Addy, after that mistake, just about holds on, but a little bit of an unforced error there by Addy. As they head into Ascari for the 6th time. And touching that curb, that I can't. Usually I'd think that would spoil Maverick's day, but not to be. He seemed to get away with touching the curb on the inside of Ascari there. As let's see what goes on here into turn 1. Let's see if now we should turn our attentions somewhere else, as the Mercedes driver now opens up the DRS, is absolutely flying at nearly 340 kilometers an hour down towards turn 1. Can the Mercedes driver make a move? No, it's going to be everyone holding station at the moment. Very hard to get an overtake done here, it seems, but we're going to head further forward and check how our race leader and our championship leader, of course, Bolt, is doing, and he has a 4-second lead over his teammate Ayrton Spencer, and that gap is increasing lap by lap, and he seems to be taking it fairly easy. Very nice steering input into the corners, trying to make sure you don't use the least steering angle as possible to take stress off those tyres. He doesn't want to overheat those tyres, so we need to check what's going on here, as Addy all of a sudden is really close to Ragno. Ragno is going to move back before the Ascari, not go defensive into Ascari like the Alfa Romeo perhaps would in front of him. But now things are starting to get spicy once again, as now Bolt has just extended that gap to 4 seconds. So nice healthy lead over his teammate does Bolt have. And let's see how that continues to develop, whether that gap extends or perhaps whether his teammate can start to close the gap a little bit. But now Addy's going to try here and get past Ragno to head down the main straight, and looks like he's going to be able to get that done indeed. So Addy looking really strong in this race here, and he's up into 3rd place, as I believe he did just get hit then a little bit by Ragno, or maybe he was perhaps suffering with his rear end. As they head through Curva Grande, Addy in a really strong position here in 4th place, and you'd have to think that he's going to be on the podium today, as I believe that was Danny Ibn Lahar getting completely and utterly out the way, who is now a lap down to these guys after he was involved in the turn 1 ruckus. As they head out of the second Lesmo, we've got a couple of cars separated by about a second here. I wouldn't even say 2 seconds. We have Maverick, and Ragno was thinking of going for a move there with a little bit of a fake up the inside of Addy, of course, doing what a former Ferrari driver would used to do. Of course, Fernando Alonso, he loved a good old fake up the inside, but Ragno, as they head down towards Parabolic Arc, trying to go around the outside. The Haas driver looks like he thought he was going to give it up, but now, as a result of trying to go around the outside, Ragno's run wide, and now he's put himself under pressure here from the Mercedes driver of Maverick DC88, and Cav now with the DRS, but of course everyone has the DRS here because they're all so close to each other. Maverick's going to try and go around the outside of Ragnar here, and that'll be a very good move if he does indeed. He's got his nose in here as Val's just made a mistake up ahead now, and here we go as they head towards Curva Grande. Is Addy going to get past? And yes, he is ahead of Val, who's made a little bit of a mistake on the exit of the first chicane there. Val thinking about launching it up the inside, but he thought, no, we're not going to do that, as he now goes into the gravel once again but also did Ragno, as Maverick has been kept behind Ragno after it looked like he perhaps got the move done, as he did have his was up the inside of Ragno on the exit of turn 2, but was not to be for the British driver. As Val is, and he's been hit from behind there by Ragno. And now this is going to be a perfect opportunity perhaps for Ragno, after indeed he did hit his Italian compatriot, to get past. And yes, it looks like indeed he is going to get past here. Ragno around the outside of Parabolica nearly cuts Val's front wing off, and now this is also getting Maverick very excited indeed. And now Val, in the space of one lap, is going to go all the way down to 6th place here, as Maverick is up ahead of him just about now. But Val is getting an absolute... He's gaining oh so much in the slipstream, and Maverick now at the inside of Ragno. Can he get it on the track? Just about. And now who's going to get the better exit here? As it looks like Ragno's got some front wing damage after that contact into the Ascari chicane with Val. Now side by side as they head down towards the second chicane. Who's going to come out on top here as we get a rather poor camera angle? It's going to be Maverick in the Mercedes as he gets past Ragno, and Val, from looking all so nice and sweet up in 3rd place, is now all the way down in 6th place. It's been a bit bad lap for the Italian driver, but he's still there. He's still on the slipstream. He still has the DRS of these cars ahead. So if he can just stick here with Ragno and Maverick and remain patient, I'm sure he could be looking at a very good points finish indeed. But we've seen Val in very good points playing positions early on this season, but unfortunately mistakes have ruined that, as now he's gaining here on Ragno. Ragno making sure he doesn't get up the inside, but he gives up the position in the end as Val absolutely sends it up the inside here. And now Ragno with a lovely switchback. He's going to say, none of that, as now we have both Maverick and Ayrton Spinner in the pit lane. And Maverick's got a 5-second time penalty for spinning in the pit lane, as now Val and Ragno are side by side here down into turn 1. Ragno is going to get the move done here on Val, as we did have some people coming out of the pit lane. I believe that was Hereford who's coming out the pit lane. Speaking of coming out the pit lane, Ayrton Spinner is going to come out in some clean air in 6th place here, and perhaps now he can make some inroads on his teammate here, as he has of course pitted before his teammate. And let's see what he can perhaps do with this undercut. And I believe that, and one would have to think that Ed has actually pitted again. No, he hasn't. He's fallen behind Chazza when he certainly was ahead of Chazza earlier. So indeed something has happened to Ed, which we haven't managed to quite catch on stream here. As he was ahead of Chazza, he must have made a mistake somewhere. Of course, even with the minimap, it is very hard to see because it actually isn't popping up with boom yellow flag just above or below the F1 2019 thing. So yes, as now Chaz was actually running a little bit wide through the Lesmo there, as Bolt has pitted from the lead of the race, as Ragno's also got a 5-second time penalty for speeding the pit lane, much like his rival on track all throughout this race, of course, which would be Maverick. As we have Val into the pits as well, and Bolt is going to come out very comfortably in the lead this Grand Prix onto the medium tyres, and you would think to the end of the Grand Prix now. As Ayrton Spinner, seems like the gap is about 6 seconds now to Bolt, so I think he's lost a bit of time there, either coming into the pit lane or he's just had a very scruffy outlap. Speaking of scruffy, Bolt's now just got a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings, but I just now have to mute my mic because I do need to very badly blow my nose. And here we go, we're back underway as we've seen Val nearly go on to Germany, as he was going that wide through the first Lesmo, and now we have Maverick, who somehow found himself behind Val here after the pit stops. He's going to have to find a way to get past the Italian driver, who has a very, very poor Ascari, losing the rear end and going all over the exit curbs on the outside line there and into Parabolica. He's not going to quite be able to get a move done, is Maverick. But Val just about touched that grass with his right rear tyre here, and this is putting him in a bad position on the run down towards turn 1, as now the DRS has been activated. He's in the hot lap mode and he's barely gaining on the Italian here. The Italian has got some super straight line speed in that Alfa Romeo, but Val breaks later of the two and has gone very deep in the corner, now going to come right back across the track, and that's very well defended by Val. Very hard, especially on a controller, which I know that Maverick is using to get an effective switchback like that, but Val moving across very, very late there, nearly causing a major collision between himself and Maverick, but both of them do escape with that one, and Val and Maverick remain in 6th and 7th place at the moment. There's Chiller Killer, who of course was involved in all of the turn 1 chaos, who hasn't made his pit stop onto the different compounded tyres yet. He's just here a second or so behind Maverick and Val, so I'm sure he'll be pretty pleased with that, as Ayrton Spencer is behind Lower Power, who hasn't pitted here early on, and I think Lower Power actually might be coming into the pit lane. Indeed he is. I just had a feeling that Lower Power is going to come to the pit lane there, and thankfully he had the foresight to know that Ayrton Spencer was going to go up inside there, who is now 9 seconds behind his teammate. So Bolt really establishing his dominance here in the lead of the Grand Prix. And Bolt is 14 seconds behind Addy, who I only see Addy perhaps being the only thorn in Bolt's side today, if that is possible, as Addy on the Contra strategy perhaps could have a very strong last stint in this Grand Prix and perhaps surprise us, as Maverick close once again to the second chicane, but nothing doing, as he just nearly about loses the rear end, as now Ed sets fast like the Grand Prix 123.3, but of course with Ed being in 13th place, that isn't going to count for anything at the moment, because of course you only do get the fastest lap point if you are inside the top 10. As we're on lap 15 out of 27, already at halfway race distance, as Maverick's outbroken himself there into Ascari. Going to cost him some time to the Italian driver in front of him. And speaking of Italian, we have, of course, Chilico in the Italian car of the Alfa Romeo. Pretty close to Maverick here, even though he has been on these tyres since the start of this race. And now Val is going to find his ways past Schechter, and also as Maverick, but could Maverick launch an attack here on Val? He's going to have to go around the outside. He's broken very, very late. Can he keep it on track? No, he has to go across the bumps and concede that position back to Val. But now Maverick is going to be under pressure here from Chillikiller, one would have to assume. But Chillikiller barely has any ERS left. He's on 4% there, so I don't think he's going to be able to get past Maverick, and indeed he's not, as Maverick, oh my lord, is nearly absolutely gone and careening into the back of Val. As now, as he had to cut across the track, he's going to drop all the way back into 8th place, even behind Ragno, who we've barely seen in this second phase of the race after the first and only pit stops. And now Chazza is even finding his way towards these lot. Chazza, who hasn't pitted since that first lap incident, is now starting to close up on these lots, so you can see that these lot aren't going exactly at the quickest. As now Addy has made his first and last pit stop of the Grand Prix. And I tell you what, he isn't going to be too fine behind Ayrton Spencer here. Indeed he's not, and on those soft compounded tyres, he's going to be absolutely flying, and it's going to be very hard to see Ayrton Spencer staying ahead here As now we have Scheckter coming into the pit lane to make his first stop of the Grand Prix. Oh, as we're side by side here with Ragno and Chillakiller. So with Chillakiller and Val, the two Alfa Romeo teammates, into turn one. It looks like Chillakiller, who hasn't pitted since the first lap on those tyres, is going to be ahead, but with no ERS, it's going to make it very hard for him to defend from his Italian teammate here. But he just outbrakes Val quite simply, even on that old rubber. Where are we? Here we go. He's been on those tyres 14 laps, and he's managed to outbrake Val, who's been on them for 4. So terrific driving by Chillakiller, just showing how quick he is and why he was on pole here. But sadly, just after, well, what happened at turn 1 with Ed and himself, not able to do anything really. Oh, and very, very sideways out of Ascari there. He manages to keep it on the road as Addy, now with the DRS open, is going to surely find himself past Ayrton Spenny here for second place in the Grand Prix. And indeed, he's up into second place now, as we have got Val, Ragno and Maverick all gaining positions as Chillakiller has come into the pit lane. And now Maverick is gaining an absolute lot. I couldn't get my words out then. Was gaining an absolute mile on the two Italians in front of him, Ragno and Val. Ragno taking the back of Val, not for the first time in this Grand Prix. As Maverick here, he's absolutely flying, and now Val's just gone on the grass in front of him, nearly allowing Maverick. Oh, and Ragno, contact there with Maverick. It just looked like, from our view at least, that Ragno just turned in there, as Val really did compromise Maverick's line there, because if Val didn't go in the grass in front of him, I believe that that Maverick would have more than likely gotten past Ragno, but Maverick couldn't really brake as late as he wanted due to Val making that mistake. And here we go. Addy is 3 seconds ahead of Ayrton Spencer already, and now the gap is 8 seconds between Bolt and Addy. And I know for a fact that Bolt does have a 3-second time penalty, so Addy is absolutely flying a 1:22.4. That's at least a second quicker than any other lap time that we've seen so far, as Ragno has somehow gone up the inside. Oh, and Bolt with another time penalty, and that's absolutely massive. There's now the gap between Addy and Bolt effectively is only 1.5 seconds. Oh, massive moments here in this Grand Prix, as Maverick has gotten past Ragno. Oh, and Val's had to cut the chicane here, and this could mean that Maverick has his best opportunity absolutely so easily to get past Val here, as they head down through Curva Grande and into the second chicane. Can Maverick get the move? He's going to have to go around the outside of the Italian driver. He's got to try his best, but it's not going to be good enough, as Val manages to not outbrake himself here and stay ahead for the time being. And somehow Val has managed to hold on there, as Maverick's just run a little bit wide there through the second Lesmo. But Ragno, I don't know exactly what happened. We didn't catch it on stream. He's now 9 seconds behind these slots, so there must have been some contact at some stages. Danny Bin Lahal all the way down to 14th place has got a 5-second time penalty for spinning in the pit lane. But Addy, with a gap 6.5 seconds, he's only about half a second now off the lead of the race. Effectively, of course, but I wouldn't put it past Addy to gain even more time here in this stint. So wow, this is going to be some finish to the race here to see whether or not Addy can close that gap in. And I can actually check, because there's not exactly too much going on at the moment. Actually, I lie. When there's a little bit of a lull in action, we will try and see what the goal is, as Chillakiller trying to get past Chazza here, and he has done so very well indeed. But now Chazza, who's running low on ERS, who's running low on fuel, with the DRS now on, going 340 kilometers down the main straight, is going to try and get past the Alfa Romeo here. And we've seen the Alfa Romeo and Ferrari battling all day long, but just not these two drivers, as Chazza gets up into 7th place here, and he's driven superbly since his incident at turn 1, or since he was caught up in the incident, but now Chazza also gaining on low power, who's gone on the hard compounded tyre. And I thought for a moment there that Chazza was going to go into the side. Onto the rear, I should say, of low power, as Val has lost out to Maverick here on the run down to Ascari, and now the Mercedes driver is up into 4th place. How many times these two have traded positions in this race? As now Chaz on lower power and Chillick are all in an absolute gaggle as they head down towards Ascari, and this is just not going to end well, as lower power is absolutely going all over the track there, and Chazza is up into 6th place, and Chillick around the outside of Ascari, if you do not mind, is up into 7th place. Jeez, I thought that was going to end in a massive crash there, if I'm completely and utterly honest with you. But Addy, right, I think this might be the perfect opportunity. Yes, it is, as Ral's had a very poor exit there out of that climb. This might be the perfect time to check the penalties, and here we go. We're going to check the penalties right now, and here we go. Right, we're going to see Bolt exceeding track limits, but we need to see what else there is. So Bolt warning. Here we go. I wouldn't usually do this, but I think it's very important that we get the full picture here. And there we go. Bolt 3-second penalty. And what else is going on here? All right. Now we've got. Haven't seen anything else for Addy. There we go. Definitely a 6-second penalties for Bolt, but it's important to note that we do believe that Addy is on his final warning. As now Val and Maverick are battling once again. Not entirely sure what's happened in Ascari there, but at the moment, as things stand, Addy is in the effective lead of this Grand Prix on penalties, and that could be massive, as Ed is now starting to charge through the field, and I think we could see Ed get all the way up as high as 7th place perhaps. So it's all, as I mentioned in the early stages of this race after that lap 1 incident with Ed, it's all about damage limitation here, and with at the moment, Bolt is not going to win this Grand Prix as things stand. But Addy, I believe if he does get one more warning, he will get a penalty, so things can turn oh so quickly. But saying that, the gap is now only 4.8 seconds as Addy is continuously gaining here on Bolt, as Ed has made himself up past Schechter up into 8th place, and now he's about 2 seconds behind Chillick. So I think at the most, or at the least, Ed can probably get 7th place, but I think it would be hard for him to get Chazza, because Chazza is a very quick driver, of course, and he is on the soft compounded tyres, so it's going to be very hard for Ed to catch him. But who knows, some mad stuff can happen if Ed and Maverick start battling once again, as what's happened there. Oh, we just had an issue with the timings there. But who knows, Maverick and Val have been battling all day long. Who knows, there could be a bit of an incident, there could be a safety car. Who knows, it's still all to play for as we're on lap 22 or 27 here at the Italian Grand Prix. And speaking of incidents, here we go. Maverick's got an absolute tremendous run outside of Parabolica, and he's absolutely flying up to the back of the Italian driver here in the Alfa Romeo, and that's going to be a very comfortable move up the inside. Or is it? Val tries to defend around the outside, but it's not going to be able to come off for him, as Maverick gets back up past Val into 4th place. And I wonder if Val is saving us some ERS. Yes, he is indeed. He's in the second lowest mode, or the lowest mode before it being completely off. So Val saving ERS, and now Maverick with a little bit of a mistake out of the second chicane. So we've got some yellow flags in sector 3. I believe that is for a Ferrari of Ragno, who's coming. Oh, he's had a little bit of an off there as Ragno at the fine at Parabolica, and now we have Bolt coming up behind him, and here we go. Bolt using everything he's got in the slipstream, pulling out just about. And now we've somehow got Maverick back up into 4th place through Ascari. What on earth is going on here? But now Val, who has been absolutely saving a heap of VRS, look at, he's on 60%, whereas we'd say Maverick is on about 40%. So Val is certainly in the stronger ERS position here at this stage in the Grand Prix. And now with the DRS open, can Val get past? It doesn't look like he's even trying to get past, but things making it difficult with Hereford coming out the pit lane there. And now Ayrton Spencer, of course, Bolt's teammates, has just got the 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings, as Maverick has just gone onto the grass there. I'm not entirely sure what's gone on there, but now the gap between Addy and Bolt is 3 seconds, so even if Addy does make a mistake here, he's gonna win this Grand Prix. As things stand, it's just on the verge of 3 seconds. This is going to be a mightily close finish here, and we really do have to keep our eyes peeled to see whether or not Addy gets a penalty here. Addy almost has to drive the perfect races now. Those soft tyres will be starting to wear out on him, so he's going to have to do an absolute mega job here. Is Addy, is Maverick very defensive into a Scary, it must be said, but Val not exactly in a great position to capitalise there. It must be said, as we're going to go and check back now on what's happening with Ed. And Ed trying to get past Chiller Killer here around the outside of Ascari. Can he get the move done? Oh, there's a side-by-side to Ascari. And what a move by the man who's in second place in their championship. Ed with an absolute stunning move around the outside of Chiller Killer into Ascari. Oh my days, what a move that is by Ed, and now he is up into 7th place, but he's run very wide there on the exit Parabolica, and Chiller Killer now can perhaps strike back, as he's now got his ERS completely turned up. He goes off track to get past Ed. I think that's going to have to be looked at, because he's gone off track there. All 4 wheels over the white line on the right hand side. And for me, that is an illegal overtake. But Ed is still in a great position here to get back past Chilica. As I mentioned earlier, I don't think he's going to get anywhere near Chazza. With Chazza almost having a 6-second gap to... Well, not almost. He does have a 6-second gap to those in front. So I don't think that Ed will be able to catch up to Chazza. Of course, we've only got 3 laps left, so... Of course not, as Ragnar has retired from the Grand Prix in 12th place. We've seen him battling up amongst with Val, Maverick and Addy all race long, but some contact which we didn't exactly catch on camera put him behind, and then he's made a couple of mistakes since that, perhaps pushing a little bit too hard. But of course, when you have to pit again, he has nothing to lose, and Ragnar is going to finish in last place in this race, sadly for him, as Ed now is going to have the DRS. He doesn't exactly have the most ERS, and I think he is just going to be a little bit too far behind Chiller Killer here at this stage. Yes, he is indeed. Oh, as he nearly hits the rear end of Chiller Killer there, and now Ed is going to has had to cut the chicane, and he's got a 3-second time penalty for corner cutting, even though he's lost time. Now that's my biggest issue with the game's penalty system. Ed should not get a penalty for that. And now that, I think that spoils any chances of getting past Chiller Killer, and I believe going through the penalties earlier, Ed did have an absolute, well, he had a lot of penalties, basically, and I don't think he might not even finish in 10th place at the moment, so Ed just needs to have a good finish to this race here. As now, oh, it's Maverick's in the gravel trap by Ascari, and now Chazza is going to get past Maverick here, and who knows, has Maverick got any big massive front wing damage, as assume here and Val have had contact into Ascari. But that ends that battle between Val and Maverick, which was going all race wrong. Very unfortunate we didn't manage to capture that on stream, but Maverick going very, very carefully here, as I'm sure his rear tyres are absolutely burnt. But Chazza up into 5th place right here, and this is what I mean. If Ed hadn't made a couple of mistakes early on, which we hadn't captured on the stream, that's where Ed would be right now, in 5th place, when Bolt is not even going to win the race, as Addy is only a 2.5 seconds now behind Bolt. He's absolutely flying. What a drive this has been by Addy. The gap was about 10 seconds between himself and Bolt, and now the gap is 1.5. It's been an absolute stellar drive by Addy. And as things stand, as we're coming on to the end of the penultimate lap here, it's going to be Addy who's going to win the Italian Grand Prix. It looks like at the moment he's going to go back to back and take victory in Monza, as we're now on the final lap of the Grand Prix. And I'm sure Addy is going to try and perhaps get as close to Bolt as possible, as I'm sure he's not going to be exactly thrilled with winning on penalties, but a winner's a win at the end of the day, and he's going to be super pleased with this. And what a driver has been by the Addy. Really emerged in the last couple of races as a man who can challenge Bolt, who can challenge Ed, who can challenge Churchill, as Bolt makes a massive mistake. Oh, what's happened to Bolt? He's what's gone on to Bolt? Has Bolt run out of fuel? No, he hasn't. We just got a sound glitch, but Bolt was absolutely struggling a heap there. Going into the Lesmo, as now Addy perhaps might be able to win it in real time, but I think even Addy knows that he can win this Grand Prix already, and that he is going to win this Grand Prix, as they are to head down the back straight down towards Parabolica. The gap is now 0.3 of a second, but it's to head through the Parabolica. Bolt is going to come across the line in first place, but it is going to be Addy to go back to back and to win the Italian Grand Prix. What a fantastic drive there by the Haas driver, and thoroughly deserving of the race there. My heart was in my mouth for Bolt there for a moment when I thought he was going to go spinning into the wall and lose some front wing, or perhaps even a wheel there. But he's managed to hold on, managed to keep everything on track just about, and finish in second place. As we have Ed here coming down towards Parabolica. Oh, he's absolutely tried to send it up the inside of Chillakilla, but he's just a little bit too far back. And Ed is going to finish in at least 8th place. Oh, as Maverick smashed his car into the wall there. Oh, and Ed's actually finished in 7th place. In 8th place. As Schechter has jumped ahead of them due to penalties, but he's jumped ahead of Maverick because Maverick had a penalty. An unserved drive-through penalty. Maverick, that could have been a very easily a 4th place finish for him, but mistakes there. But massive day in the championship as Ed and Chillakilla contact at turn 1 on lap 1 is going to extend Bolt's championship lead after it was down to I think about 10 points as we were starting this Grand Prix. But Addy, with an absolutely incredible performance, and he nearly won the race outright. That drive was oh so good by Addy in that second stint. He had about a 10-second margin to catch up to Bolt on. Of course, he was on the softer compounded tyres, but he managed to do it nonetheless. And Addy wins in Italy, and his second win in a row in this championship. And of course is joined by the 2 Renault boys on the podium, Bolt in second and Ayrton Spinner with his highest finishing place, I believe, so far this season, up in the 3rd place, which is very good to see. But now, reading through the rest of our classification here, we have Val in the 4th place, who was battling all race long with Maverick and Ragno, and has managed to come home in 4th place. Chazza finishes in 5th place, even though he was caught up in the lap 1 chaos, and also Chillakilla was involved in that chaos earlier on as well. We have Schechter finishing in 7th place, of course the man who's second in the championship, Ed, all the way down in 8th. Then we have Maverick, Murcielago, Law Power, Hereford, Danny Binlar, Skull, and our retiree Ragnar. Oh, it's given me a false alarm as well. I've all of a sudden just rushed through the finishing order there. I could see it red, so I thought we were going to be all done, but massive day in the championship as Ed finishes 8th and Bolt finishes in 2nd place. And now I will come to the chat to see what has gone on, as Bolt is saying only I could throw such an easy win, embarrassing performance. Ed is saying waste of time. Shazza, no idea how I finished 5th, a true mystery. Well, yeah, you were pretty much dead set last in that race, were you, Chaz? And yeah, the very good drive in the end to come home in 5th place. Bolt saying, remove the track from the calendar and fix these penalties, please, and thank you. Also, Addy's tyres Bridgestones instead of Pirelli. He had no tyre wear at all. So there you go. Bolt, not exactly happy with how things have gone this evening, even though in the bigger picture he has extended his championship lead over Ed. And dead fast saying, good race everyone. Indeed, it was a very good race, very entertaining race, lots of things happening throughout the race. And as Rooksfoot, good to see you in here, mate. Says great race to watch. Thank you guys. And indeed, that has been it for the Italian Grand Prix. And wow, what a race that is! Very, with massive moments happening early on in the race, as Addy's actually just confirmed he was struggling on those tyres. So there you go. But until next time out, where's the next Grand Prix? Is it Singapore? I believe it's the Singapore Grand Prix as we head back into Asia for, well, what is now truly the home run of the season. And yeah, wow, it's going to be an absolutely exciting finish to this championship as things are really heating up between the drivers now. Lots of contact, lots of chaos unfolding in these races. But that has been it for me. Been a very exciting race, and yeah, I hope you all have a very good night, day, and a very good week until we see you here next time at 9:30 Central European Time next Sunday, 8:30 British time, and then of course it will be at 7:30 AM Australian Eastern Standard Daylight Savings Time. And until then, I hope you all have a very good day and a good week, and we'll see you then. Ta-da.